Hey, welcome back to Culture Keepers. Back here with Cormac and myself, Mark. We're going to go over Marcie's story a little bit and the theme that kind of Marcie came up with. So we're going to do that here in a second. But
yeah, remember though, like, share, subscribe. Right there, I'm sure Kayla will put something right there below my finger. So
make it hard on her. You
yeah.
point this one, point that one.
Really great episode. I think hearing from Marcie, a different perspective. I mean, I've heard the story a million times, but just to make sure that we can share it with everyone.
But you still cried.
Oh yeah, of course, man. I love you guys.
Yeah,
So it's emotionally moving how much you guys care about us. So anytime I think about it, I gotta shut it off, stop thinking about it, or just let it out, one or the other. But I think the biggest thing for me, there were two really that came out of that: transparency and the buy-in from the team. And I think the transparency probably creates the buy-in.
Yeah, which is ownership, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that came from what I was unable to do in previous professions that I wanted to do. When you're in civil service, someone takes a test and they test well, they get hired.
Sure. It
doesn't matter if they're not a culture fit or culture doesn't matter. Yeah, it's the most qualified person or the best test taker, if you will. And it was frustrating, but that's civil service, right? So I would choose people for my shift in the fire department based on culture.
Sure.
And since I was one of the senior guys there, I'd basically get my pick of the litter, if you will. And so I had just fantastic people on my shift, and so we called C shift as the shift, right? And everybody kind of looked up to C shift either in disgust because they weren't us or they wanted to be us type of thing. And either way, it's a compliment, and we can do that here now. And so the buy-in from other people is huge in the fact that you guys get a lot more say than any other normal business, if you will, because we can't have infighting. We can't have that. We got to have a solid. I want you to want to work for someone else and vice versa. If you're gone, I want them to want to help you, not have to help you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so having that buy-in, I think, is huge. And then the transparency is we can talk about that all day. But again, another corporate do not do is don't tell people about your finances. Don't tell people about how much money you're making or not making or whatever that. And we've just been, hey guys, we got this much budget. Here's where we're at, and we can spend it this way or that way. What do you guys think?
Sure.
And I think you guys have some fantastic ideas about that, so I think that's great.
I think you could take even the transparency another step too, because we have a position here that affects a lot of us, but we were down to one person in that position, and which was just overwhelming to be that only one person there. And the response from the people who were affected by that was, how do we help?
Yeah. Instead of, how come you're not giving me this?
Yeah, exactly. What do we got to do to make sure this keeps ticking along until we can fix the situation? So I think that being transparent with that had created the buy-in for what we were able to, us stepping up and making sure that got taken care of as best can. So the other thing too, though, you just talked about was, which I find really cool because I didn't know this about. I knew you were the C shift, but I didn't know there was some jealousy there from the other shifts, and the C shift is the shift. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I
used to do that just to stir it up. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have. The more I look back, probably wasn't the smartest thing, but I did.
But you also said that you hired for cultural fit because you were able to on your shift, and that created a company.
Not hire. They were already hired with the fire department. I just got to choose them to come to my shift.
Okay. Yeah. So you got to choose that group that then created that buy-in. I mean, we've said it before on here. I'm friends with some of the guys that used to be on your shift. So I mean, you've even intermingled past jobs to this job and created a culture far beyond what the jobs are.
Yeah, and I've been retired 10 years, and I was very honored. Yesterday, I got an invitation to a early retirement for one of my guys that was only with our department for I think a year or so before I retired. And his wife sent me a really nice invitation, a really nice note and stuff to come back and come to his retirement, which I thought was pretty awesome. So it's a humbling, and feels good to know that they're still thinking of me over here, because I certainly think of those guys for sure.
Yeah, well, you get it all the time,
Yeah.
honestly. You guys go see people all the time over there. We've had people, even some of those guys move over here.
Yeah,
So
a couple of them.
yeah, so you're making people move states to come hang out with you guys, right? And be a part of the world that you have here, that you guys have built here. So I just, that buy-in and that transparency, I think they really do go hand in hand. Now, though, if you think about it in terms of trying to help the people out there, they might have positions where they might not be allowed to be as transparent, which it sounds like you might not have been able to be that transparent maybe with the fire department. So is there any tips to be able to maybe create that buy-in without having the ability to be as transparent as you are at this, where we're at here?
Yeah, and I think that's part of what we're doing here, is to maybe set some things in people's minds that it's possible to do it anywhere. It really is, right? Obviously, if there's some sort of legal constraints or anything like that in legal type professions to where you can't do that, or there's laws that say you can't do that, like civil service, that you can't do that. But there's certainly a point of, I was also on the hiring committee, or on the hiring board, if you will, when these people came in, and you have to choose, you give so much weight to certain things and stuff, and you had a little bit of leniency to give a little bit more weight toward one thing or the other, and you know where I leaned.
You're right.
That's a great guy. I can teach him to be a firefighter. I don't care how many certificates this guy has. This guy's awesome, right? And he's going to treat our public very professionally and show us well and do the department well. So I like that guy, and I want that guy. So you have a little bit. So if you take that little bit and just stir it up some more, like we talked about the culture, you can change culture. And it's such a tagline. I hate the word culture because everyone uses it as a tagline, but we truly do use it here as a lifestyle. But you can change that culture just by doing positive things. Our kids all come in here because the culture is so fun in here.
You're right.
Yeah, we have some drag out arguments about our clients, and I'm fighting you for my client, you're fighting me for your client, because we both got something under contract together. And the fact that we can walk away from that and shake hands, say good job fighting for your client, our kids see that too, right?
Sure.
And so they come in, and it's just they just feel comfortable here. They'll sit down on the couch and do their homework and stuff, and nobody questions anything. They're just here.
Sure.
And I think having that type of culture and that type of positive environment is infectious.
Yeah, I agree. Great.
What else about Marcie?
Let's
talk about Marcie.
She's just,
Well, she's not here.
she's just such a great person, right? She walks in, she lights up the room for everyone, and everyone knows when she's not in a
Stompy.
mood. Yeah, stompy. And so we, but we all are like, when that happens, we're like, oh my God, what do we got to do to help Marcie? So.
It's not, she's on a rampage, get away.
No, not at all. Because she'll absolutely. I mean, in our last one-on-one, she wasn't feeling the uppity person that she is, and she answered me, and I said, I didn't like your answer there, and then she smiled.
And then she smiled.
So, yeah.
And that's that trust, right? It goes back to that trust, that transparency. Hey, she's given you the accountability or the authorization to hold her accountable to that, as well as me, because you guys do it to me all the time.
Oh yeah,
which is
it's
fantastic.
one of my favorite things.
I love it, right? But it's one of my favorite too. The one thing I can say about her, in the last 5 years that we've owned this business, she has grown tremendously, from that extreme pessimism to now, in my opinion, an appropriate level of pessimism, because she holds me back from doing things that might get us in trouble, like hiring that person, because I think that person, hold on, she's got such a different outlook, and her heart is so genuine that it's just a good mix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, awesome. Do you have anything else to add right now, or?
Keep the culture going.
Yeah.
I mean, just.
I think transparency, buy-in is the biggest piece here.
Yeah.
You guys hire in for the people who are going the same direction, which everyone's direction might be different. So you might be hiring slightly different types of people, mentalities, personalities, widgets, all that stuff.
Well, there's a book, or one of my coaches, I can't remember where I get a lot of this stuff, but they talk about everybody's rowing a boat. Mm-hmm. And if you got one person rowing the wrong way, it really messes up the entire trajectory of the entire boat, right? Whereas if everyone's rowing in the same direction, you got to get to there or get to there, and you're all rowing that way, it's going to go there really quickly. You just have one person rowing the wrong way or differently, or their paddles sideways or something, it's going to steer the boat away from where you want to go, and you're going to have to fight to get it back.
Absolutely.
And it takes 10 times the energy to get it back than it does to just go the right direction in the first place. So we look for those people that are going to row the boat with us, that want to do the same types of things.
There you go. There's the tip. Get everyone rowing the boat in the same direction.
Row the boat in the same direction.
Awesome. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Again, please give us some feedback. We want to grow, try to make sure we're bringing you guys quality content, stuff that you can really lean on. And if you have any questions, let us know.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.